Okay, today on the workbench we've got this toy from Ozzies. If you're not familiar with Ozzies' YouTube channel, I'll put a link, if I can find one, to it down below. But you should be subscribed to it since he has all the best and coolest vintage toys. At any rate, this, as I understand it, is called the Ambassador and probably Magma, M-A-G-M-A, as I understand it. This is the battery-operated version. Now, I remember he did a video on what I think was a wind-up one, but I don't remember the video on the battery-operated one. So, sent it to me repaired. Nothing was stated as to what the problem was. So before I put any battery into anything, I just kind of looked it over, and the first thing I noticed was that on the right foot, the rear wheels, or the ratchet wheels, this one did not turn and did not ratchet. And somewhere along the line, some kid had forced the wheel against the ratchet lock position so hard that it actually bent the little ratchet finger, which hits on some little sprocket teeth, up inside and curled it over. So I had to disassemble the bottom of the foot, and on these type of feet, it has to do with straightening out this tab on this side and that side, and then this bottom part of the foot. Well, actually, it's the top part of the shell is going to tip up out of the way, but that allows you to see the bottom part of the foot. Then you can get in there to take the wheel apart and fix all that kind of stuff. Next problem I found was with the battery connection, so of course cleaned them and bent them out a tad and got that going. Had to get inside at that point because it still wasn't working right. The switch was very intermittent, almost 100% not working right. So the switch had to come apart. Spray cleaner wouldn't fix it. Had to come apart, and fine emery cloth, papered, whatever you want to call the really fine grit stuff, 600 grit or so. All of the contact points and everything in there, and made sure they were lined up, put that back together. That started getting me some power, and when it ran, of course it sounded horrible. The motor bearings were dry, so lubed that one, and got to the bottom one by sighting up, if we can get this with it, by sighting up in there through this hole. Got to that one, and that helped quiet the motor down some. Put some spray cleaner in through that slot. That got the motor running a little bit faster. There was still a horrendous squeal, and that was coming from a gear which I probably can't get the camera to, maybe. Clear up there near there, there's a crown gear up there that contacts the motor, and it rides on this shaft right here. And this shaft doesn't turn. The gear spins on the shaft, but that's where the lube needed to be, was in there. So once I got that lube, then all of a sudden it was quiet and that part was running. So then the next problem is whenever you loaded batteries in it, it would fall over backwards. Since none of the leg linkages looked bent here or here, or when I had the feet off and I was looking in there, that generally means that one of the axles, in this case it's going to be this one here that runs all the way through, there's no gears on that axle, has been bent by some kids stomping this toy on the ground as hard as they can over and over again, imitating walking motion, you know. And sure enough, when you grab this and turn it by hand and watch, you would see the legs kick up and out and butterfly in and out. So I mean, that axle had to come out, and of course they're crimp flared, and generally when that doesn't show, the easiest way to do that is to grind one of the flares off one end and then pull the axle out and get it on a flat metal surface and pound on it and bend it and dink around with it till it's flat again. And when you put it back in, usually take a little washer and put a washer over it, and then solder the shaft, a glob of solder on the shaft to basically imitate the flare that they originally had done to hold the axle back in place. So whether the toy will still fall over or not, I don't know, but I do know that the axle is now flat. And before I'd even taken it apart, I experimented by turning the axle, and you know, it would change the robot from like standing this way to standing this way just by rotating that axle. It's makes a very big difference when you're two leg linkage points are this close together. See, this is one of the leg linkages here, and this is the other point. If either one of those is even bent just a little bit, it really goofs everything up. Normally when I make a toy, I try to spread those out as wide as I can because it makes the toys more stable, less likely to have that problem. What else? Had some body damage. There was only so much I could do for that. This was kicked in all the way. And this particular metal was so thick you couldn't work it by pushing on it with your thumbs or a screwdriver handle or anything like that. So this actually required some pounding and dinking and working, and I got it smoothed out a lot from where it was. Not bad at all. So I just thought some of you might want to see inside the toy before it's buttoned up. I'll stick a couple of batteries in here. These are D cells, quite heavy. And I'm going to have to try to hold those in. So here you can see the leg action and the fact it's not squealing. We've got arm action again. Rather limited, but you can see how that linkage works. It's just taking the top of the leg up and looping it through right there. So you're not going to get a whole lot of action. And this light is for the head when the head's on. Supposed to glow. I've got the window open and sunlight's coming in, so you may not be able to see that. But it's sounding good. It's looking promising. I won't be putting together on camera because almost all of this is going to have to happen in my lap and you won't be able to see it anyway. So if there's a picture at the beginning of this video of it all assembled, you'll know that things went well. Oh, by the way, here's the back. So you got your battery door compartment and that, and the front I kind of already showed you. And it's all held together with tabs, which are in good shape, even though the toy has had a rough life. It's been well played with. That's what it was built for. But it didn't look like it had been opened before, so that was very good because that meant the tabs weren't going to break off the first time I tried to bend them, and it should be okay bending them back.